That's what I'm saying, like how I used to flip houses.
Exactly.
And yeah, because if you really want to dig in, I used to be in the oil business and I was buying rundown properties and redoing them and starting them. Uh, and I wound up owning 7 or 8 properties. And then my partner passed away. And then that's how I transferred into flipping houses because I'd bought these properties and were fixing them up. And some I was doing corporate rentals, some was I was, you know, selling, some was I was just doing regular rentals and stuff like that. And then, that's how this all got started.
I know you did that, and I remember you shared that your partner had passed. But I didn't know you guys had. Is that because was that from money from the oil stuff?
Yeah, I was making so much money in the oil business, I just started buying properties. And I took this one condo that I thought, oh, this is going to be my forever house. And I took everything down to the hinges on the door handles. I took it down to everything and redid everything in it. And I was like, I like that. And I've always liked real estate and putting all this stuff, doing the design and everything. I always thought I had pretty good taste and stuff like that. So I just picked out all my own stuff and did all that type of stuff. But yeah, that's how it all got started. When my partner passed away, I was like, shit, what am I going to do next? And I had to close that oil company down, and then I started flipping houses. I didn't even know anything. And I wasn't just flipping houses. I was adding square footage to the front, the back, doing crap like that. And one of the first houses I started adding square footage to it, I'd hired this guy because I didn't know what I was doing to run everything. And, about 3 days in it, I was like, this guy is just hiring people. So I fired him and took over the whole deal and started doing it all on my own,
So that's where you say, hey man, I don't know what a GC does, but I'm seeing what this guy does.
Well, I said, all you do, I see you don't have to. I see you don't have to have all the knowledge. All you got to do is hire people that have the knowledge to do the work. And that's when I fired him and took over and started doing it myself.
3 days in,
3 days in, I said, this guy don't know what he's doing. And I said, I got as much money back from him as I could because I fronted him money and stuff like that. Sure. And I said, listen, dude, this ain't going to work out. But I didn't know a thing about adding. Shit, I had to go down to the city. I sat down at the city one full day. And I watched this lady, and she knew everybody was going in there. And I sat there all day, never got to see anybody. Next day, I go down there, that lady's still there, and she was pulling permits for some of the big home builders. So I pulled her out to the side. I said, hey, what do you do, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, how much you charge? She said like $350. I said, okay, here's $350. Next thing I know, she got my permit. I would have probably sat down there 3 days getting nothing done. Yeah. And she's helped me with stuff. She knew everybody at the city and stuff like that. So that's how kind of things, started and got going with me. Yeah, so
Curtis Best. I think Curtis Best is the best damn realtor in Dallas.
I don't even sell real estate.
Okay, then the best damn builder. That's what it is.
I always wanted to be in the real estate business, but it's the hardest damn business I've ever, and the deepest I dove into is when I met you over.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, shit,
I think you and I were saying the same thing. Like,
I was like,
I think real quick we realized like we don't really want to be on this side. Like, I was doing it because I had to at the time.
I was like, they were feeding us the leads and all that type of stuff, and I was like, okay. Every other place. Plus, I did learn more there than I did anywhere.
They had really good training.
They had good training, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They really did.
Bring it a little closer to you. Perfect.
So you met that lady
downtown at the permit place, dude. I watched her all day. I sat there all day thinking that somebody's going to call me and I'm going to be able to go in. And I got with her. She did everything for me. She said, well, I said, whatever it charged. I don't care what she charged. Just whatever, I'll pay it. It was worth it to me. She did everything. And then she's turned it over to her son now. But I was going to talk to her about, I told you, I got that guy that wants to do that fourplex and they need to do the rezoning.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'd bought a house. And if you walked up to upstairs and opened, it had a door up there. It had a stairway and an up door. You open the door, it didn't even have any plywood, but it had about 800 square feet of
living space.
And I looked at that, and I bought it, and I said, down where it was, shit, they're getting $300 and something a square foot. And I said, okay, that's pretty easy money there. And I turned that into a big master bedroom or whatever room and stuff like that.
Where was this?
Never got it permitted or anything, but she helped me get it get it permitted after the fact.
What?
Yeah, and nobody even came out. I talked to all the guys down there. She said it, and they never even came out. They said, we'll give you we'll give you the extra square foot because I was selling it.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't get it permitted, so you can't sell it.
Okay.
And they gave me the
Explain that for the people, though. I'm saying but we got to explain it for the people. So, you went ahead and did some renovations.
I bought a house. The reason I bought the house, and it was down in Lakewood area, and it was it had this stairway. Wow, you looked at this stairway, and it had a door up there, and you walk up there and you open it, and it was like a big attic. There was just framing, not even any plywood or anything.
No subfloor. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and it was huge. And I was like, shit, there's a lot of square footage. I put a bathroom up there. I put a closet up there. I turned it into a big master bedroom, but it could have turned into anything. It already had a master bedroom. And I was like, that's big money there.
Sure.
So that was the deal. But I did it all without getting it permitted. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. And after the fact, when I sold it, I wasn't going to get the extra square footage without getting it permitted. And she helped me do all that. And I talked to somebody, nobody even come out and looked at it. They just gave it to me. Yeah, that's how good she was. Yeah, and so that was.
Do you remember the numbers on that deal?
I paid $295 for the house.
Uh-huh.
And check this out. I sold the house for $545. A year later, or whenever the real estate market changes, right now that house is worth over $1 million.
How long? Over. That's the story of appreciation, especially here. Where was that? That was in Dallas.
No, that was in Lakewood, and then I went from Lakewood down to Midway Hollow, where it was weird area. Midway Hollow. First house I bought over there, I paid $295. But if you went across Midway from Midway Hollow, the houses started at $3 million. Now they're $7.5 to $10 million over there.
Good gracious.
Yeah. I always was in those areas at the right time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I lived off of that. I would redo the house and live there for, I don't know, a couple years, then I would sell it. But I'd had so much equity and stuff in it that I lived there for free.
I'm looking at it. I'm like $295, and you sold it for $545.
Yeah.
Good gracious.
Yeah, and
250. That's $250,000.
Dude, if I could have held on to that house about a year and a half longer, it was at 8 something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
It went from 545 to 8.
Yeah. The people that I sold it to, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I kept looking at it because I kept getting a thing from Zillow or one of those deals saying, hey, man, that house is worth this or this. I kept looking at it going, what is going on over here? And then the same thing in Midway Hollow where I was, the same thing. When I first got in Midway Hollow, you could not sell a house for $1 million. You could sell it for $990, $995, $985. $1 million, you couldn't sell it over there. Now they're going for $2.5, $3 million over there.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I was always in those areas at the right time and buying the right properties.
Yeah.
So it was.
But that's the thing. I could dive into this all day, but I want to take one step back. We'll do a quick intro, and then I want to understand, because you are a business owner, entrepreneur. You had a lot of success, I know, as an owner of the hair salon.
Yeah,
and
I was the largest hair salon in Dallas.
The largest hair salon?
20 years I sold it and moved to Asia.
Hold on, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I sold the salon, and I was looking for something else to do. And a friend of mine said, hey, my buddy's got this big money-raising deal over in Asia.
Okay.
He said, come over here. And I was like, shit, I had made a little bit of money from selling my salon. And I'm like, and I was 40 at the time, and I was like, I need to make some big books. I tried to look at a couple different things. Like I looked at insurance and different things that had residual income. That's kind of stuff I was looking at.
Sure.
So I got over there. So check this out. I moved over to Kuala Lumpur. That's where their big office was, Malaysia. And he had 3 offices going 24/7, selling pre-IPO stuff, stock, all kinds of stuff.
Is this like boiler room type stuff? Are they in
It
there
was
on
like
the phone,
boiler room type. Yeah.
hitting it like, we got to sell now today?
Yeah,
or the deal's gone?
yeah.
Oh, that's high.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
So I left the salon business, did that, and I worked for those guys for a while. And to me, it was like too much boiler room, a little scammy. One of the owners had started a magazine called Thailand Opportunities. And he had that in Thailand. He said, come work for me. I said, I can't do this anymore. I went over to Thailand, and it was during Apex. And he had this magazine, and this is when everybody was going to come to Thailand. All the different countries come to Thailand and stuff. So we were selling advertising to this magazine and stuff like that. And I helped put all that together and do all that with the owner of this company that was doing this finance stuff. And I went from, I flew over a business class because I had a bunch of mileage and stuff like that. And then they put me up in this crappy little place, man. It had the toilet and the bathroom was all together. And I was like, I never lived like this before. But within 2 weeks, I was living with one of the owners in the penthouse right across from Kuala Lumpur Petronas Towers.
What?
Yeah. And after I got done with all that stuff in Asia, I came back and started working for selling oil and gas stuff. It was the same type of sales as these guys were. About 2 months after being back, those guys called me up and say, hey, we want to get an oil and gas business. We'll raise all the money, do everything, and you put all the deals together and everything. And that's how I got started with those guys. I did that for 13 years until my partner passed away.
Okay. So what time frame was this when you say
that
13?
was 2001.
Okay. So 2001 up to about 2014 till your partner passed?
Yeah, I was about 14.
And then after that is when you got into real estate.
I went and when I started buying and flipping these houses, I said, screw this. I'm going to get my real estate license, and then I won't pay the fees.
The broker commissions.
So that's the only reason I got the real estate license. I really wasn't looking to sell real estate. But here's the thing. When you're going and flipping houses, sometimes you got to go look at 150 houses before you decide to buy one. Real estate agents get tired of going and showing the houses like that.
True.
Doing all that to go look at one. That's why I went and got my real estate license, and that's how I got that, and I still have it to this day.
Gotcha.
But I really never... The most I've ever done with the real estate license when I met you at Monument.
At Monument, that's right.
And I was like, shit, this real estate shit is hard, and there's so much to know. And I was like, I don't want to do this.
And honestly, I think you found your sweet spot, like your niche. Like you're good at this stuff, man.
The flipping houses and the finding good deals, and I was good at that.
You are good. I don't know. It's good. You are good. We're gonna talk about the South Lake one, but even when I first met you and you took me over on like Lakemont, you showed me, man, that's a heck of a deal,
dude. Yeah, I built that. That was the one I added square footage to the front and the back of it, and that house. If you saw that house when I first bought it, everybody else would have probably tore the damn thing out. It was that bad. It'd been sitting for probably 10 years. The floors were rotten, water's coming in everywhere, the roof is bad, and I took it on and redid everything.
So everybody else looks at it, and that's the other thing that's intriguing to me about coming from different markets, like from Michigan and then coming down to Dallas. If the house is, like we got stories about the one over on Inwood we got to talk about that they went and tore down, but if it's 20 years old, it's old, and they want to rip it down and do something new.
Yeah, here in Dallas, they want everything new.
But that's cool because now you saw it and you saw an opportunity where other people would have said to tear it down. What is it that made you want to take that project on?
I don't know. To me, area. I look at the area, money making area. I knew the area. This is a crazy area. Midway Road, right there at Walnut Hill, up to Northwest Highway. Literally, Midway, you go across on this side of the street on Midway, it's $3 million. Over here, I was able to buy that house for $295. Now, it was a dump. What are you thinking?
You're in the money, right?
Yeah.
And when you buy it.
I bought that house, and I lived in it for probably 4.5 years. And still sold it and made like $350,000.
So let's jump into the numbers on Lakemont real quick, because that's the thing. Like that was new. So you bought Lakemont $295. You said $295.
Yeah.
And then lived in it for some time, and
then I added square footage to the front and the back. It was about a 1,600 square foot house, and I added about 1,100 square feet. So it was about
2,700
square foot. And it was that was my favorite house. It was just exactly like one level. I had a great backyard and stuff. Like the thing that also brought me to that house, it had a tree that was probably 150 years old. It was humongous, had this huge tree in the back, and it was really cool. But that tree, we had a tornado come through that Walnut Hill, knocked that big old tree down right when I was getting ready to take the pictures to sell that house, put it on the market to sell it, and the tornado came through that night before, fell down on the house, and get the pictures. I had to rebuild it again.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
It tore the house up.
Tore it up. Did about $450,000 worth of damage.
Get out.
That's when I brought Denny together. He was moving from Louisiana, and I knew him through his brother. And they were telling me that it was going to take me, it took me a year and a half to do all the work that I did over there because I didn't know what I was doing and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was one of your first ones.
One of my first ones.
But
like
you're taking the pictures to put it on the market, and then the tornado causes.
I called them to come take the pictures the next day, and I called them back and said, "Hey, tornado just about hit my house.
Did your heart jump out your chest or what?"
I was asleep. In fact, I was watching the Cowboy game, fell asleep, and my girlfriend wakes me up and said, "Hey, there's a storm going. The tornado things are going off." And I got up and looked out. I was looking out the door, totally naked, and it's like, here comes the tree, comes down on my house. I was like, holy moly. My girls, and it was crazy because that happened. Like I said, the Cowboys game was about the end of the Cowboy, about 10 o'clock. I called my insurance guy that I knew well. That night, I was one of the first claims that got put in.
Look at that.
And I got my money first. I got my house put back together. And Denny, they told me that they were going to rent me a house for, they said 11, 12 months. Denny got me back in within like the 7th week after we started putting it back together. I was living back in the house.
Now that's what's crazy.
Put it back together. That's just the craziest thing about Denny.
Denny's
how I
crazy.
saw Denny,
Yeah.
and I said, "Man, this is a home run here." And he's, let's start a business together. But I didn't have the contacts to get enough business for it.
Yeah.
This guy's used to building 10 houses at a time and stuff like that. And but we initially were going to be together, but I just didn't have the infrastructure to get him enough work.
Yeah.
And I'm still don't. And that's what I'm trying to get going right now is to get him enough
for
work
sure.
because like I said, we just started this house in South Lake. I think 11,000 square feet under roof. And he's already got it framed in less than 31 days or something.
No, so let's jump into that now because this is the thing that I knew. We had talked about it before, and you had said, "Hey, all this experience, like mine was a heck of a house project," and you said, "Yeah, I got a guy, man, and he's throwing up houses," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, everybody says that," but like when I started coming out to the project. I want to say maybe it was end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah.
And the house was still there. Like the existing house.
Yes.
And I walked it. It was
Yes.
like 4,500 square feet. It wasn't, to me, again, it wasn't a bad house, but it's older. Like in Dallas's criteria.
This is South Lake now.
Yeah.
South Lake's
South
a whole
Lake,
different
true,
than what we're talking about.
But in this area, okay, we're gonna tear it down. I'm like thinking, what? Okay, cool, tear it down. But literally, I think it was September.
Here's
good for you, but good for the clients too, because the clients probably would have had a really bad.
Oh man,
experience.
those guys! That guy stole everybody's money and ran, and filed bankruptcy and all kinds.
And you
of stuff.
got the one already done, right? I think the guy's selling that one.
Yeah,
the big one.
No, they moved in.
I knew you were onto something when you invited me over and we walked that job. And man, no lie, bro, there was like 30 guys in there.
Oh yeah.
There was hammers flying. There was sawdust. And I'm like, holy shit.
That's one thing that changed my whole life and way of looking at all this is when Denny used to build. He said he used to build apartment complexes, and he talked about how he'd go before they even started putting the foundations down. He started putting everything together, and then after the foundation poured, then he just starts just doing
Slanging
this,
up.
boom, and he brings in. He'd have 150 guys out there, and it's all about volume and people working on top of each other. Everybody else I've ever worked with or talked to, they're like, "Oh no, I can't do plumbing when the electrician's in there." He's got everybody, the AC right now.
Yeah, right now he's got folks over.
Oh my God, he's got the AC, the plumbing guy, the electrical guy. Everybody over there, roofing's going on, windows are coming in.
And what's crazy?
All working on top of each other.
But what's crazy about it? Because
but you got to have somebody that knows how to run that.
That's the key.
That's what he does.
That's what I was going to say. Like
that's what he does.
But other people can't do it because they don't have the experience to do it or the knowledge. When I talk, and let me just, for the folks listening, who Denny's your general contractor, and Denny's your main sub. Like you sub a lot of your stuff to Denny. He's got worlds of experience. And I think what we should do, I think we should have Denny on a follow-up episode.
Yes,
as
exactly.
coming in, introduce him as one of your main subs.
Yeah.
But that person who does that has to, because it's innate, and you got to know how these guys are going to work, how they're going to work on top of you, so it can be efficient versus just being a cluster.
Here's the other thing about Denny.
Mm-hmm.
Denny is a build guy and stuff like that. He don't like to deal with the clients. He don't like to deal with the money. He don't like to do it, but he needs it. He's out there every day, morning, noon, and night, running everything. But what he don't like to do is deal with the client, get the jobs, deal with the money. So I take care of all that.
It sounds like
that.
a perfect relationship. You
Yeah,
guys have a
yeah,
perfect
he
relationship.